I always had a passion for music, so it wasn't any surprise that this was going to be my profession.
Being a father at 50 now.
Don't wish to talk about it.
Hey peeps, it's your girl Blessydgazadiva and welcome back to the Blessydgazadiva channel. I know I can confidently speak on behalf of Gaza Nation this morning to say all of you woke up feeling proud as I did this morning because of Likkle Addi's on-stage interview. I just want to say happy Sunday, and for those of you who are going to church today, have a good day. And for those of you who are just chilling with family and friends today on this blessed Sunday morning, I ask you to have a pleasant morning and do enjoy the rest of your day. Now, what we came to talk about today, Vybz Kartel's reaction to his son's interview and also a breakdown of Likkle Addi's interview. So I took to my Instagram, of course, and posted the poster to say, "On stage is live now. Please ensure you watch it. Don't miss it." At the end of it, Vybz Kartel reacted. He said, "Loved it. Short and shat." And of course, I said, "Short like Shorty, shat like Addi." It was a solid, good interview. Now let's get into the points that made this interview different. Those two snippets that you heard me play in the front of this happens to be my favorite. The most important one is what he tried to focus on, his profession, when he said, "I always had a passion for music. So I knew this was always going to be my profession." Hands down for me, that was the best part of the interview. Now, the second part of the interview, I didn't find it too much as riveting as others are saying because I personally knew it wasn't going to be spoken of. And if you follow the Palmers, Vybz Kartel, you know that this wasn't going to be spoken of. But at least I love to see the outpouring of people who were quite impressed with how he answered the question. So that's why I added that snippet. So for me, as I said, the highlight of the night was how he articulated himself. He composed himself. He looked at Winford and he answered the questions articulately, not even intelligently, articulately. Now, this is exactly what you call a dynasty if you're looking about a dynasty. A dynasty and a legacy is something that lives on. We're not talking about just riches now. We're talking about something that exists within the father, mother, and it has been passed down to the children. Easily, we can say that Vybz Kartel's legacy, Vybz Kartel's dynasty has definitely been passed down to Likkle Addi in this interview. Talking about fatherhood, you imagine a few people are around there saying, why didn't you want to answer the question about fatherhood? As I said earlier, to the people who are giving him rave reviews for not answering the question, kudos to you people, because you understand exactly what would have happened this morning. Imagine he spoke about that pregnancy last night. There are two things involved. One, the pregnancy happened when he was 15 years old. That is not something to boast about, and that's not something to have overshadow your interview. You imagine him speaking about it, then today it would be the topic of discussion for a number of waste vloggers and waste people on the internet. So he did the right thing in not shunning the question, but respectfully saying, "I do not wish to discuss this at this time." Winford interview questions. A lot of people are talking about the interview questions that Winford had. And tell me down below in the comment section, what were your thoughts about the question? Do you think that Winford was ill-prepared? A lot of people are talking about the questions. Winford interview questions were weak, a lot of persons are saying. And I want you to tell me your thoughts now down below in the comment section, why you think the interview questions were weak. So a lot of people are saying that Winford was ill-prepared. He didn't do his research and he didn't have the right questions being posed. Now, personally, I'm going to give you my take on it. I got the feeling from Winford that he was even uncomfortable talking about certain topics with him. And keep me correct. When you are seeing an interview, you have to watch the body language of people. One of the biggest non-verbal cues is body language. The way people gesticulate, the way people sit, the way people operate, the way people fidget speaks volumes to their communication skills. So when I analyzed Winford's communication skill from head to toe, for one, he was sitting in a forward setting. Two, you could see him trying to be, let me ask the right questions. let me not pressure him too much. That's what I was getting. I don't know if you remember the last interview, and Gaza fans, let's just be a bit fair about this. If you remember the last interview, a lot of the questions that Winford was posing to them, he had to be literally dragging them. And they were 10 years old and 12 years old, respectively. So I understand that. But he thought he probably had to do the same thing again. But man, did he buck up in a intelligence, shrewdness. I think that's what threw Winston off. I think that's what threw Winford off. Winford thought it was going to be a similar interview like when they were smaller. Instead of taking his mind frame or mindset out of that zone and putting it now that these people are in their teens, they're getting closer to 18 years old, they are going to be speaking differently and more. He was still stuck in that almost 10 years ago interview zone. So when Likkle Addi was answering the question now quite direct and came at him, he didn't know how to deal with it. That's my 2 cents on it. Now, Likkle Addi being intelligent, which ties back to the point I made before, very articulate, very smart, very composed, and very, very serious about his business. You can see that he is serious about what he does. He loves music with a passion. Obviously, he naturally wants to do this, and you hear him articulate and gesticulate when he's talking about his song, like when Winford asked him the question, and Winford said to him, so your song, whose song is this, and who wrote the song? And he's like, he stopped to Winford, corrected him, and he's like, listen, every one of the songs that you hear, Likkle Addi, me, write those songs. And what I got out of this interview, he wanted it to be saturated with him, his strength, and his writing abilities. Because everybody knows Vybz Kartel's writing ability is way above the stratosphere. It's not normal, it is top-notch. And every time you hear a song from Likkle Addi or Likkle Vybz, the natural inclination for a human being to think is, Vybz Kartel had something to do with it. No, mind you, with expertise and experience like Vybz Kartel, of course, he may listen to a 1 or 2 lines out of the song and say, maybe I need to change that, but literally write the song? No. These gentlemen are young, they're smart, they went to Jamaica College. So what would they have been doing from Stella Maris Prep all the way up? Just sitting on warming bench? Obviously not. Obviously, how you hear them speaks volumes to the fact that they can do things on their own. The next point I liked about this interview is him talking about school, indicating that he no longer goes to JC. And when Winford asks, so you're still going to school? And he's like, yes, I'm still going to school, and I'm preparing now. I'm in 4th form, preparing for my 3 subjects that I'm going to take in CXCs. And of course, school is very important. I loved that response as well. The other thing I liked about the interview, he sat upright for most of the time. His hands were clasped, his legs or knees were pointing. You could see he automatically gave Winford respect in the interview. And that again, I think also threw Winford in his questions, because you could have written down some questions to ask. You could have had a teleprompter you could read the questions from. But I personally think, I wouldn't say ill-prepared. Again, Winford was thinking about the interview when they were younger, where not both of them were talking a lot. He thought that it was going to be a cakewalk and he could just come or forward in with some little bit of questions. But as I said, when he buck up in a Likkle Addi question and answers, it threw him for 6. The last thing that was very important to me, when he spoke about taking over the business, that was very critical and very important. He understands that there is a dynasty and there's an empire to control, and he spoke volumes to it. He spent most of his interview time talking about, we are going to take over. And the other thing, when he was talking about takeover, you saw no selfishness in his game. Every time Winford talked about, you are going to, he said, no, we are going to. Always involving his brother Likkle Vybz. And that in itself sounds simple to some people, but it's a character on its own. He understands that they're a duo. He understands that he's one half of the group. He understands that UTG is a part of his dad's dynasty, and he wants to ensure that it is carried on. And I really admired that about his interview. As he basically said, yes, it's under my mom's production right now, but at the age of 18, when I and my brother turn or become 18 years old, we will be taking over. Hands down, this interview deserves 10 out of 10. In comparison to some little waste man that has been on stage, he did exceptionally well. He dressed properly, he composed himself, he answered the questions articulately, he was smart, he was composed, and he just dealt with the overall interview on a proud level. So every single Gaza fan woke up this morning feeling proud for following Vybz Kartel for years and seeing the dynasty. The dynasty is evolving in front of our eyes. Let's not be fooled. If we don't want to see it, we don't want to see it. But these young men are poised. Likkle Addi proved last night that he's definitely ready and poised to take over. Please tell me your thoughts now down below in the comment section about the interview. If you've not yet subscribed to my channel, please hit the notification bell. And if you've not yet smashed the like button on this video, make sure you smash the like button and send this out. I'm out.